Hey, welcome to the DBB channel. We have finally concluded the Evo Cup in Singapore. Now, there's a total of 8 shops that participated this event, and each event has a 32-player max cap. Now, the purpose and idea of this video is to really go through the representation of decks in the 8 shops, and understanding what is the popular pick going into this event. Now, due to this event, it has also helped solidify what we can expect in the BT10 meta. This will also be helpful for the people who are actually playing the current English format. Now, before we go through the decks, we have to first understand the idea and the rules of the event. Now, there's additional ban lists to this event. Now, these ban lists does include the Guru promos, Greymon promos, and of course the Alphors, and as well as the Gamamon. Now, this limits the potential presence of decks like Guru X due to the ban on the key promos such as Garurumon and Gurumon. Now, the other promos does affect other decks as well from reaching their maximum potential such as the Greymon X and the Gaiomon. Now, this is a 5-round Swiss best of 3 event with no top cut, and the most recent set for the game is actually BT10. Now, BT10 actually introduced the new mechanic Digicross. When put simply, it's a cheaper hard play cost. Now, there are a few meta defining decks inside, and we will be learning more about it in the later part of the video. To be able to win all 5 Swiss rounds, there is no room for break, inconsistency, and players have to account for the many different decks that could be possibly played in the BT10 meta. It is a tough feat, especially without a top cut. Now, top 8 players are awarded an Agumon each, but however, everybody is gunning for their Omimon. Now, heads up before we begin the breakdown, we are going to see a specific deck that's going to be pop up at every Evo Cup we have here in Singapore. Now, with that out of the way, let's take a look at the breakdown. Now, for our first Evo Cup, we do have Yellow Hybrid taking the win here. Shocker, I know. In the top 4 standing as well, we have all 4 Yellow Hybrids. And of course, this is not the best side to witness, but however, I promise you, it'll get better as we go through the next few Evo Cups. Now, for the other top 8, we do have Alphamon, Darknightmon X, Mastemon, and of course Sharpmon Cross. I'd like to do a special shout out to the Diaboromon player in this tournament. It was a brave decision, and I'm praying to see more Diaboromon support down the road, so Bandai, please. Next, we do have Corey10 SG, and a whopping 17 Sharpmon players in a 32-man tournament is actually kinda insane. More than half the players are piloting what I feel is the most oppressive decks currently in the BT10 meta. The deck has counter resources, removals, and possess the essence of a Rookie Rush deck. It's not a fun deck to play against, and the winner of this Evo Cup is a Sharpmon, no surprise there. However, there are only 2 other Sharpmons here who actually topped alongside the first place, which was actually surprising due to the high representation of it. We instead have 3 Blue Flare, 1 Alphamon, and of course 1 Yellow Hybrid that actually contributed to the top 8. Now, moving on to the Bricks play, we actually do have a handsome win for the Darknightmon X in the Bricks play Evo Cup. Now, what's more commendable that it is the only Darknightmon player in the whole entire tournament as well. Now, there was surprisingly 2 Grannies that actually made to the top 8. Now, Grannies is such a scary deck that was played in the BT09 format, and seeing them again in the BT10 is not the most pleasant in my opinion because I do have terrible memories with them. Now, in the top 8, we also have 3 Sharpmon Crosswalls and 2 Yellow Hybrids. Now, moving on to Century Gaming, we do have another win for the Yellow Hybrid. Now, in the top 8 standings, we have 2 Sharpmon Cross, Jasmine GX, Grandis, 2 Mastemon, and Armor Vmon. Now, in this specific tournament, we do have a decent variety here, and it's always good to witness people challenging themselves instead of bringing the default meta decks. Now, special mention to the 2 Galamon and Bizamon players for bringing the handsome decks, even though they did not make to the top 8 cut. Now, let's move on to the Royal Home Entertainment. Now, this Evo Cup in particular was actually a very pleasant surprise as it was Imperdramon that actually took the W. Now, Imperdramon is actually a formidable deck in BT08, which I believe it was at its prime, and it's very good to actually see it back alive in BT10. To be fair, in the current BT10 meta, it will be the fight between who will be the fastest. However, I'd like to pay attention to the second place, which will be the Mother D-Reaper list. Now, this Mother D-Reaper list actually possess all the tools to actually annoy the heck out of Sharpmon, and definitely very commendable for him to actually bring such an innovative list. In this top 8, we do have 3 Sharpmon Cross, Grandis, Mastemon, and Jasmine GX. Moving on to the AGC tournament, we do have another handsome victory for the Darknightmon X player, and it was actually the same player who took the win at Bricks Play. So massive congrats to him, and Darknightmon X is actually a very formidable deck in a Sharpmon heavy meta, given that you can actually pop the Tamers. Now, in this top 8, we do have a total of 4 Sharpmon who still made it in top 8 this time, but however, we do also have Alphamon, a deck which was in its glory days in BT09, and also the Hampson, Imperdramon, and the Brigade. Moving on to the Game Academia Evo Cup, top 8 is what people might call it as the current BT10 cancer. We have Sharpmon that took the W here, but it's also 4 other Sharpmon that make it to top 8 as well. We also have 1 Yellow Hybrid and 2 Security Control, which I believe were played to keep the Sharpmon in check. However, unfortunately, it could not. Now moving on to the last Evo Cup, which is the Goodness Gracious Games. In this Evo Cup, we have quite a diversity of decks, and ultimately it's the Jesmon GX that took the handsome W here. Now something to take away from this top 8 placing is that this particular Jesmon GX player was actually trying at the previous Evo Cups, but always ended up coming short and ended up not winning the Omnimon until this final one. So I'd like to take this opportunity to commend his perseverance to keep trying Jesmon GX and finally achieve champion. Now another commendable feat is to the Granny's Topper, which is yet again piloted by the same player, and his dedication to being a green player is truly commendable too. Now in the top 8 placings we do have Yellow Hybrid, Armor, Darknightmon X, Blue Flare, Sharpmon Cross, and of course another Blue Flare. Now surprisingly, there isn't a lot of Sharpmon and Yellow Hybrids tops here despite being the top 2 representation in the Evo Cup. In fact, there's 2 Blue Flare that top 8 in this event, and that's definitely sweet to know if you are a Blue Flare fan. Now after covering all 8 Evo Cups, what can we learn from this BT10 meta? There are a couple of things. Firstly, the Sharpmon. Sharpmon is definitely a very problematic archetype with the new Digicross mechanic. There are cards that can counter this play, but it does not feel sufficient and consistent. This deck can blow most decks out of the water due to its highly aggressive yet resourceful plays. While it's not a surprise that we are also receiving more support for the Digicross decks in BT11, but we are only hoping that other decks can actually equip better answers to it as well. Next, it will be the Yellow Hybrid. Now this deck was first introduced way back in BT07, but however still see its play in the current format. Of course, this deck has adapted countless ways to fight the meta by changing up the base, such as playing black to actually incorporate de-evolutions or adopting the current best base, which is the red alongside Gilmon, which actually provides a high draw power for control deck. Now the whole engine is truly formidable, and I understand everybody has a problem with it. However, we do have announcement that is getting hit into the ban list, but that makes me think, without decks like Yellow Hybrid, I can't imagine what other decks could keep decks like Sharpmon in check. Currently, Yellow Hybrid feels like the lesser evil when compared to Sharpmon. With Jet Sylphimon being to 1, we do only hope Bandai releases better support or alternative for the yellow decks to actually play and keep up with the other decks. Now even though it feels impossible, we can only hope. Now lastly, just play whatever you're happy with. Now this feels cliche or sounds cliche, but however from the previous breakdowns we have witnessed some amazing tops from decks that are not regarded in top meta. The top meta decks tend to have everybody's attention, and people will be equipping themselves with tech cards to actually counter these matchups. However, this is when the less meta defined decks come to shine, because these decks will not be anticipated by most players, and then this will actually allow you to take the most handsome W. I mean, what can be more handsome than winning with a deck that most people did not anticipate it to be? Now that being said, I'll still like to give my congratulations to all the toppers throughout the long Evo Cup season. I can only look forward to what EXU3 will be able to bring to the table, and I'm looking forward to cover another official tournament season in the future. With that, thank you guys for watching till the end. Do consider subscribing, dropping a like and a comment if you guys do enjoy the content.